Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing a long-requested pattern that we found on the Bitcoin chart. It's a pattern that I've been watching pretty closely over the last 3 months, but have yet to make a video on. In fact, more than 3 months. Going all the way back to June, I was concerned about this, and it's kind of come to fruition. In fact, this pattern has a price target of $790. With Bitcoin's recent bearish price action, it should come as no surprise to you that this is a bearish pattern, and it does, like I said, predict a bearish move on Bitcoin. That being said, I don't think we're going sub $1,000, although this pattern is predicting it. Guys, in this video, we'll be discussing all relevant technical factors surrounding this pattern and the current Bitcoin market so that we can come to an educated prediction on where Bitcoin is heading from here. We'll be looking at the pattern itself, short-term trends, long-term trends, oscillators, margin positions, Bitcoin support, and fundamental analysis to come to our conclusion today. So if you do enjoy today's video, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. As I was telling you, my overlords at YouTube are going to make me rewatch YouTube Rewind on a 10-hour loop if we don't hit 30,000 subscribers by January 1st. So guys, if you're new here, consider saving me. I know we just met, but do me this solid. Hit that subscribe button down below because I don't think anyone ought to be subjected to that. And also, guys, if you do enjoy today's video, make sure to smash that like button. It really helps out the channel when you do that, and I would be very appreciative. But without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. I believe that clickbait is only clickbait if you don't deliver on what you say you're going to deliver on, so I'm going to go ahead and deliver right now what I said in the title. This pattern does predict a sub $1,000 Bitcoin, and it's this head and shoulders pattern that you guys have been asking me to cover for the longest time. I mean, seriously, I can't get you guys to shut up about this. I'm joking, of course. I've been thinking about it also ever since July when Bitcoin hit its high up here because this looked like a shoulder to me, and I knew that Bitcoin would be going into a longer-term downtrend because we rallied so quickly. I knew that this was probably going to develop into a head and shoulders pattern. I think I talked about it on stream. I don't think I ever talked about it in video. But nevertheless, that is going to be the topic of today's video because it very well may become a relevant factor in our analysis moving on into the next couple of weeks. This head and shoulders pattern, as you will probably know by now, has a neckline right around here. We have our shoulder, our head, our shoulder again, and then we broke below it. We've been beneath the shoulder line for about a month now, but considering this is like a 6-month long pattern, the results of that breakout are not necessarily over. As you guys will know, there are price targets that you can draw from head and shoulders patterns. And the way you do that is by measuring the distance from the high, the head, all the way down to the neckline right here. And then you take that price target and you extrapolate it down below the neckline. Let's go ahead and move off the logarithm scale so we can actually see. And as you guys can see, this is pointing to around $700. Now, depending on how exactly you do this price prediction, you can get a result from $500 to $1,500. Point is that a large portion of the analysis here is pointing to a sub $1,000 Bitcoin. And that sounds a little absurd, right? Bitcoin going sub $1,000, that just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. And I agree with you. I think it is absurd. It's one of the reasons why I very much dislike price predictions based on extrapolation from a movement like this, like the head and shoulders pattern. I'm not a fan of price targets like that, and I very rarely use them on the channel. I like to say Bitcoin is going to move to X or Y level of support or somewhere in a certain zone based on VPVR support or price history. But that does not mean that this pattern is not bearish. Bitcoin moving into a head and shoulders pattern, especially one this long term, is most certainly a bearish pattern. Of course it is, guys. And the fact that Bitcoin has gone ahead and broken below the neckline a little over a month ago does indicate that we are moving to the downside as a result of it. And guys, I'll be honest with you, I don't think this movement right here that we've seen so far, this fall to this long-term uptrend, I don't think this is it. I think Bitcoin's going to fall below that. I'll be quite honest with you. I was kind of on the fence, but at this point, no, I don't think Bitcoin's going to hold here. So if Bitcoin's not going to go to $700, because I think that is unlikely, I don't ever see Bitcoin going below $3,000 again. But if Bitcoin is probably going to go below about $6,500 where its current support is, where does that leave the movement on Bitcoin here over the next several weeks? Well, guys, the first thing we need to talk about is, of course, the 200 weekly simple moving average. This is a very critical level of support that Bitcoin has held for the entire history of the cryptocurrency. Let's turn our other moving averages off here, and you will see that Bitcoin has come down and tested this level of support twice in its history. Both of those times were during the accumulation phase, following a bear market and preceding a new bull market. That level of support is currently sitting right around $5,000, and if history should repeat itself, Bitcoin should never go back below that level. And in fact, if Bitcoin does, it wouldn't really be good news. I'm just gonna be honest with you, it wouldn't be good. So guys, if Bitcoin isn't going to go below $5,000 based on the historical trend, and we're probably going to go below $6,500, then we're starting to narrow in and dial in on where our levels of support are, but we can do more than that. Guys, I want you to understand something before we go any farther, though, and that is that Bitcoin is in a very long-term trend right now. We've been trending to the downside for 6 months, and during downtrends of that length, you are sometimes going to see dead cat bounces, as they're called. You're going to see fake rallies. You're going to see bull traps. Whatever you want to call them, you're going to see them. Bitcoin is going to have rallies there and there and there and there and there. Bitcoin does have rallies in downtrends, and Bitcoin does have crashes in uptrends. That's just the way the market works. So, guys, I want to make it very clear that there is a possibility that Bitcoin bounces here and maybe rallies all the way to like $8,000. I'm not going to get into that analysis right now, but it is possible that Bitcoin bounces off of this long-term uptrend here and we try to reestablish something. And also, it is possible that the downtrend ends right now. It's not that I don't think that that's a possibility. It's just that that's not the topic of today's video. So please don't think I'm saying that the only possibility is Bitcoin breaking bearish here, because there is most certainly a possibility that Bitcoin bounces. That's not what we're focused on, and frankly, I don't think it's the most likely either. Guys, I need you to see something, and that is the MACD. You guys know I'm a very big fan of the MACD. It's one of the most common indicators that we use in our analysis. And in fact, if you guys are in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, you're going to know that this shows up in many different videos. We have a dedicated video to MACD that's 14 minutes long. It shows up in our Heikinashi video here, and we discuss it as the foundation of several other key concepts here in CT2A. CT2A is on sale until Christmas Day, by the way. There's a $40 off coupon code down below if you want to learn everything you need to know about technical analysis moving on into this new decade. Highly encourage you investing in your education, but that is a tangent. Let's get back to the analysis. Because what MACD is showing us right now, guys, is, well, it's not the best. If we look on the daily chart here, we're going to see that Bitcoin is currently bearish. We did have a bearish cross in the last couple of days. And as you can see, at least for now, we are still diverging bearish. What that means is that the MACD line and the signal line are getting farther and farther apart. And that means that they're getting farther and farther away, theoretically, from a bullish cross. If we look at the weekly chart as well, guys, MACD has been bearish for quite some time, ever since mid-August. And as for right now anyway, the MACD line and the signal line are still diverging as they are on the daily chart. One more thing that you guys have been wanting me to talk about for quite some time, and there probably will be a dedicated video on this relatively soon, is the monthly chart MACD. As you guys can see, Bitcoin's monthly chart MACD has crossed bearish, and that is significant. If we go on the BLX chart and we look at the entire history of Bitcoin, we're going to see that it's not very common that there are bearish crosses on this longer term MACD out here on the monthly chart. The last time was about halfway through the previous bear market, right up here in June of 2018, and the last bearish cross before that was about 6 months into the 2014 bear market. There have only ever been two, count them, two bullish crosses on the monthly chart MACD. One of them triggered about 6 months ago, and now it looks like we're reversing bearish again. That's not a good sign, and like I said, there will be a dedicated video on that. I know you guys have been wanting me to do one, and there is one coming, just not the topic of this video, but it is something I want to mention because it is most certainly relevant. Now, I will say one thing about the monthly chart. There are a lot of people that never zoom out this far, so I prefer to do analysis on the weekly chart at most, but that doesn't mean what's out here is not relevant. So guys, here's what's going to happen. Bitcoin is first going to attempt to put a bottom in here. It's going to try and bounce here off of this uptrend of support. And actually, frankly, it looks like that's what we're doing right now, is Bitcoin's moving a couple $dozen to the upside, trying to bounce off of this long-term uptrending level of support that we discussed in yesterday's video right here. You should go and watch that. It's a great video. But Bitcoin's been bouncing off of that, and it's very important that Bitcoin does try to bounce off of that because, quite frankly, I don't want to see Bitcoin just fall through the floor on that level. Because if Bitcoin does, all of these short positions over here that we can see on Blockchain Whispers are going to get vindicated, they're going to be in ridiculous profit, and the longs are going to get liquidated, and it's going to create selling pressure. If Bitcoin falls very quickly below this uptrending level of support, it is not a good sign. It's setting a precedent that Bitcoin can easily break long-term trends, and that's not a precedent that I want to see. So I do think we are going to see some kind of bounce here. It might take a couple days, might even take a week. Guys, this is not short-term analysis. Please don't get it twisted. This is long-term analysis. This is stuff that might be happening 2 or 3 months from now. Bitcoin is probably going to try and bounce here, and when it does, it's going to move into an uptrend or whatever, and then Bitcoin is probably going to fail there, and we're going to fall over and come down and test $6,000, $6,400 again. From there, there is a pretty high likelihood that Bitcoin will fall through there, and we're probably going to go ahead and end up testing that 200 weekly simple moving average that we've been discussing so much here on the channel for the last, year. When Bitcoin goes into bear markets, and I think what we're in right now is a mini bear market. This is not a pullback during a bull market. This is a mini bear market, and it needs to exhaust itself before we can continue moving to the upside. Bear markets, they come down and they test the 200. It makes technical and logical sense. So I think the same thing is going to happen this time, especially with the price targets of that head and shoulders pattern being so low. I think there's enough selling pressure to drive us all the way down there. So you want my hot take on this? Somewhere between $5,000 and $5,300 is where I expect Bitcoin to bottom out, with $5,000 being where the 200 weekly SMA is right now, and $5,300 is probably around where it'll be by the time we get there, maybe in a month or two, because this moving average is, of course, uptrending. If you extrapolate it out a few months, it is very possible that we hit this in early or late January when this moving average is sitting a little bit higher than 5K. So somewhere between 5 to 5.3 is my eventual price target for Bitcoin. I know you guys have been wanting me to get to that for a long time. I've been trying to build up to that over the last several videos. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but about the last 4 or 5 videos, they've all been building up to this one where I finally gave you my price target. That is where I think we're heading, to $5,000 to around $5,300. And guys, I don't think I'm unfounded in that. I think the analysis that we've done today and over the last several videos has been very well structured, well researched, and honestly, I think it makes a lot of sense. Bitcoin is in a downtrend. The bears are very strong right now. The bulls are very weak right now. I don't personally see them having the strength to institute a new uptrend that can last and build higher lows and higher highs and get above important levels of support like this 20 weekly exponential moving average right here. Bitcoin needs to get above that and hold above it for quite some time before I'm going to be confident in the market again. And to do that, I hate to be the person that says this, but I do think that at this point, Bitcoin could use a flush out. What I am not telling you to do in this video is to go and short the market. I'm not telling you to go and sell your position. I'm not telling you to run around like a chicken with its head cut off because Bitcoin might drop 10 or 15%. What I do want you guys to do is be prepared for both scenarios. Realize that there is a chance that we're about to have a long squeeze. I mean, Bitcoin longs over here on Bitfinex are getting astronomically ridiculous. We're sitting at 47,000 right now. That's going to get liquidated at some point. I don't see how that can keep rallying. And quite frankly, to me, guys, I don't like calling manipulation. I think most of the time people call it, they are dead wrong and they're making up reasons that the market did something that didn't fall in line with their poor technical analysis. But in this case, guys, this is a side note. This does look like manipulation to me, and this does look like it's going to crash, and it does look like it's going to cause a long squeeze, and it's going to crash the market, and somebody's going to be there to make a lot of money off of it. If you want my take on it, that's what I think's going on here. I have no evidence to back that up. If anyone has any evidence, please let me know. That's just a feeling. So don't hold me to that. That's just kind of what I'm thinking right now. But anyway, guys, I hope you got some good value out of that video. I hope you understand where I'm coming from, and I want to hear your take on this. I want to see what you think down in the comment section down below. Do you think Bitcoin is heading down to $5,000 to around $5,300? Do you think that's where the eventual bottom is? Do you think the bottom is now and Bitcoin is going to manage to hold that long-term uptrend of support? I would love to hear your take on that in the comment section down below and in the first cohort, guys. If you're not already in, the first cohort is our private trading group. The link is down below. You're going to get access to a bunch of high-quality videos talking about trading, and you're also going to get access to me for one-on-one conversation and picking my brain about how I trade and do my analysis. So guys, the link to first cohort and the link to the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy are down below. But before we wrap the video out, guys, there is one more thing I want to talk about, and it's something that, you know, a lot of the things I tell you guys, I didn't learn them from myself. Most people don't learn everything or even the vast majority of what they know from their own experiences. They learn it from someone else and then they realize, oh wait, this applies to me, and then they quote it from someone else. Most of the things I say here at the end of the videos when I go on these little wisdom rants or whatever the hell you want to call them, most of it is something that someone else has said, and I've seen it work in my life, so I repeated it. This is not one of those things. This is something I learned from experience. This is something that people will tell you, but you will never understand this just because someone told you. You have to live it to understand it. And that is, guys, that dreams do come true. And that's not me trying to be cliche or corny or funny or me trying to make out like I've made it or that I have everything I want in life or that I'm perfect or that my life is perfect or anything like that. That's not me trying to do what all these people on Instagram are doing and pretend like they have it made. But what I have learned over the last 2 years, guys, is this. If you set your mind to something and you work your ass off for it and you put in 10 times the work, 50 times the work, 100 times the work that you think it's going to take when you first started, and you put in that work with no expectation of any return in the future, you expect that it will never work, but you're doing it anyway because you love it, and you realize that there's a possibility that your dreams could and maybe will come true, and then 25 months and 2 days later, you look back on the first video that you ever uploaded to the Crypto Jeb YouTube channel, and you realize, you know what? There was blood, sweat, tears, and outright existential terror that went into making this channel, and somehow, guys, it's actually working. And as we develop the channel a little bit more here, and as I get to know you guys a little better, and you guys get to know me a little bit better, and we continue to grow, you guys are going to start to realize some of the things that I went through to build this channel. You're going to start to realize how much it means to me that you guys have stuck around for this long, and that you guys have supported me and helped me to build what we built here. And you're going to start to realize just how much it means. Because the Jeb that started this channel on November 16th, like I said, 25 months and 2 days ago, he was not the same Jeb that's here. He was a scared 17-year-old high school student, and he didn't know what to do. So he picked something, and he worked at it for over 2 years, and now he's talking to you right now, and he wants to say thank you. Like I said in the previous video, it's not about whether or not you ever actually reach your dreams, although if you do actually dream big enough and you do work hard enough, you can reach them. It's about the journey. Because every time you get close to one of the dreams that you have, you're going to realize that your dreams are actually bigger than you ever realized they were, because you weren't giving them the attention that they deserved because you didn't think they were possible. But if you believe that they are possible and you put in the work, you can do just about anything you set your mind to. You just got to put in the work. And most importantly, you can't let anyone convince you that you can't, because you're only a failure if you accept failure. Because no one was ever a failure until they accepted failure. They were just in the process of becoming successful. So guys, with that bombshell, I don't really know where that came from, but it's just something that's always sitting on my heart, and I want to share with you guys. I do really want to thank you for supporting the channel, building us up, and for helping us get to 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Just guys, that really means a lot to me. But anyway, guys, I do want to thank each and every single last one of you for helping to build the channel and for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.